Loving ladies, Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
On this Active Health Jacks Tuesday, I feel bad for Brevin Easton. Scored a touchdown Saturday night thanks to the nice pass from Mac Jones, and then today the Jaguars waived him. We all have issues with our jobs, whether it's here at the radio station or throughout the country, whatever you do. You always have something to vent or complain about with work. But here's somebody who performs pretty well and then literally is waived days later.
What I think is interesting about the move, Lauren, is the idea of, maybe Brevin Easton is that developmental slot receiver that so many of us thought during the offseason portion, or the offseason workouts, I should say, that maybe practice squad, maybe he's a viable guy for that. And this says to me that they feel like they have other young guys that they want to develop who aren't him. And whether that's Austin Trammell, who, of course, started meaningful games for the Los Angeles Rams down the stretch, whether that's the idea of a Tim Jones or an Elijah Cooks who were on your 53 last year. Do you have to make room for them on the practice squad? Should they clear waivers? That's where I think this move is fascinating.
Yeah, it is. And I like you said, Lauren, when it comes to, it's one of those things where it's like, how'd you get fired on your day off type of thing? Like poor Brevin. But yeah, I mean, it shows to the conversation we've had of how interesting this sixth, or if they keep seven, wide receiver talk is, because there have been guys who have flashed throughout the entirety of camp. And when you have the starters you do with a Gabe and a BTJ and Christian Kirk, it makes the rest a little more difficult, because you do have to kind of figure out when it comes to special teams and the receivers that maybe can do other things better and the blocking side and some of those capabilities a little bit better. That's when those little tiny intricate things start playing in of who you're keeping. And then you get a guy like Devin Duvernay who is such a big special teams guy, and you've seen flashes from him too. So that adds another player that you are keeping. Parker has had the offseason he has. So it makes it more and more difficult for those guys that are 6 and 7 wide receivers.
And I'm not saying that I thought Brevin would make the 53 by any means, but certainly to have it happen now ahead of when the cuts are due in just a week from today, that goes to show you that, yeah, they have other plans. Speaking of the offense, Ty Dunn from GoLongTD.com, he always writes these terrific long-form pieces, and he sat down with Press Taylor, and of course a big conversation throughout the last 8 months or so has been who will be calling the plays for the Jaguars in 2024. And we saw this past weekend, Mia, Doug Peterson on the sidelines with his play sheet, and of course Press Taylor now also on the sidelines instead of being up in the coach's box. And all of the things that go into it, all of the collaboration, and the fact that Press works 100 hours a week in, every week during football season. There's a lot that goes into this offense. But to me, if Jaguars fans want to go read that, it'll make them relax a little bit about who is exactly calling the plays, and also they'll understand how much Trevor is involved in it as well.
Yeah, I found the analysis of what goes into a given week. I found it fascinating. I know some folks who found it as, wow, he's going to now deflect once again, and this time it's on to 16. And, 16 said these are the plays that I want to run, and so therefore I'm just calling the plays that 16 wants to run. But, look, he and Ty have a great relationship. Ty does such a great job in getting NFL coaches and players and front office folks to open up this way. And so I have to take him at what he's quoted as saying, which is the fact that this really is a collaborative effort. The idea of, hey, we go through, and it's not even me in the room, it's Doug and Trevor go through. They say they want X, Y, and Z. Then they come to me. And so I just work here, essentially, is the response from Press Taylor.
Yeah, it was interesting, some of the things when they were talking about the changes in college football and how those offenses are changing and how that is making people in the NFL adjust to what they're doing. And we've talked about it a little bit on here, more so directly to players, like how you may be looking at players a little bit different, or how quickly players are able to play at a high level in the NFL because the offenses in college have gotten a little bit closer to what the NFL can run. There are different rule changes, and he kind of goes into that of how they have to analyze certain things when they're watching games and saying, hey, I like that play, but we do have to adjust it a little bit to make it be able to work in the NFL and actually be able to do it without getting penalties or whatever the league rules are. But in addition to that, just how, they were talking about the fullback and how this is the first time that a fullback hasn't been on the list of guys that they're actually watching, because now you more so are looking at players saying, I really like this guy, and he could fit what the strengths and the abilities of a fullback are, not technically someone who plays that position in college. So that was interesting to me to see just how different both leagues' offenses have changed over the past few years and how it's going to continue to evolve. And it's really fun to see that.
And the fact that Press Taylor this offseason went back and watched every single play that the Jaguars had last year in order to really study it and, like he said, do an autopsy on the offense last year, because he was frustrated, Doug was frustrated, certainly Trevor and the offense were frustrated that they couldn't accomplish what they wanted to. I just find it fascinating that there will be quarterbacks playing in college football this season that are older than Trevor Lawrence, who has already played in the NFL for 3 years. So to me, he's finally getting to a point where not only is he comfortable vocally, and that certainly has grown in the last couple of seasons, but he's also much more comfortable in designing the offense.
Yes. And I think he understands he has more of a voice. And that's not to say he didn't have a voice the last few years, but I think now the voice you're seeing is no longer just offering up information or ideas. It is now the accountability. And that's not to say that Trevor wasn't holding people accountable the first 3 years he was in the league. He certainly was doing that. But I think it's saying, I don't like that. I don't want that. That's the next step in the evolution, is to actually say, yes, I respect you're a coach. I respect that you are my superior, but I don't like that. And I don't want to do it this way. I think we can do it this way.
And he probably thought too, Taylor, that he could do it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're young and when you played at Clemson and your team was a lot better than those other guys and you had some super speedy receivers especially, you think and you have the arm that you think you can make every throw. So why cut anything out of the playbook? And now I think he's learned through experience, maybe in the red zone, that's not my best move.
Yeah, and I think, too, that's part of just figuring out the strengths of your quarterback, but in addition, how much are other teams able to figure out about Trevor? And that's what we see a lot of times when these players are, a quarterback has one really good season and everyone's like, wait, now there's a full season of film on them, because it does have to do with what is the easiest things for these defenses to figure out, because that's what they're going to take away. So if Trevor can do 6 things, but the thing that the defense has really been able to figure out that he does, they're taking away, then you have to work with the rest, which is fine, because Trevor's list of things that he can do are long. It's a long list of things, but it does take time. It takes years to kind of figure out which ones you can stick with and which ones you can really rely on. I do think going back to, because he talked about, the 9-8 seasons and how they realized that's not the goal. That's not where you want to go. You don't want to have back-to-back 9-8 seasons. The expectations start to grow as you develop your team, as you develop certain young players, and as you get to the point where the division isn't being talked about as one of the worst, it's being talked about as one of the best. But also, he kind of went into the run game too, and we've talked about it. How that was a major issue last year. But I do like how he wasn't just saying it was one thing. He wasn't like, injuries, that's why it wasn't working. He said there was a multitude of things, and they had to diagnose all of the things that led to the run game not working, and that's what's going to make this offense look different this year.
We were having this conversation over the weekend. Would you rather have an elite offensive line, and we'll call it C-level receivers, or the elite receivers, and an average offensive line?
Joe Burrow would tell you want the latter. It got him to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think that is.
But they could have won the Super Bowl if they had the better offensive line.
Yes and no. I think that they were going against Aaron Donald, and it's kind of like Vita Vea. Like that's a bit. What did Doug say last week? That's a big, strong. That's a big, strong man. Big, powerful man. Yeah, exactly. And also, I think that the Bengals defense caught lightning in a bottle, and they kind of turned into a pumpkin when all was said and done. I think that is a prime example, and perhaps it's an outlier. I think that. And this is a question and a conversation that we've had year in and year out. Are you okay with having perhaps 5 guys across the board who rank somewhere between a C and a B plus versus having 2 Pro Bowlers, all pro guys, maybe one like C guy and then 2 question marks? Most folks in the National Football League would say they want the former. They would rather have a bunch of guys who are in that C to B range, but who work really well together.
Weapons or offensive line?
Offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I think from team to team, you could go through and kind of see the differences of how maybe different teams use that differently. You can go to the Lions, for example. The Lions have put a lot of capital into their offensive line, and it's helped them massively. Granted, they also do have Amon-Ra, but outside, like they
Outside
have
of
him.
Amon-Ra.
It's pretty much, the rest are like, they're good, but they're not fantastic. It's not a T and a Jamar Chase, but their offensive line and the way they've been able to build it and protect Jared Goff, because the moment your quarterback does have time, I don't think you need that Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I think you can have someone like a Christian Kirk if your line's giving you time to throw, and you don't see that much of a difference in an offense.
According to PFF, the top 3 offensive lines last season, the Eagles, the Browns, and the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are the team that they could probably have a subpar offensive line and they'd still be okay because Mahomes has such escapability. The Browns, I think that really helped them, especially losing Deshaun and having to play backups after that. I think Joe Flacco, if he's not behind the second best offensive line in the NFL last season, they don't make the postseason.
Which is where I have questions about if Anthony Richardson is to not be healthy. Like, I don't believe Joe Flacco is going to do what he did last year.
Which is also interesting because Cleveland was hurt. I want to say their starting left tackle did not play all season or got hurt mid-season or something like that. They were definitely missing multiple pieces on that line. So that just shows the depth-wise of their line and how good they've been able to build that up. But it is with the Patrick Mahomes conversation. There were obviously guys on that line who were playing well, but in those rankings, but I also wonder how much Patrick Mahomes helps that line look better, because we've seen that in circumstances too, when you have a quarterback that's able to create, get away from pressure and knows when to throw the ball away and do all of those little things, and it doesn't look like your line's giving up sacks the way they are. But if you have a quarterback like a Justin Fields who doesn't know how to get rid of the ball
or can't get rid of the ball fast enough,
it makes your line look even worse.
I feel like, and Taylor, you're the perfect person to have this conversation with because of the 2 teams you do cover in the Jags and the Bears. We are going to face this conversation all year long with regards to Caleb Williams, and I think Trevor Lawrence as well, because I think he does fall into this category too. The idea of you hold on to the ball for a longer period of time, but because you have the arm strength and such a quick release, it doesn't matter. We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes. We've seen it with Aaron Rodgers. That is the expectation with Caleb Williams. Well, he can hold on to the ball longer because even if he's midair getting tackled, he's just going to fling it and he's going to find somebody. Now, do I think he's going to have as long a leash to have, when he's getting hit at UCLA, right? He's getting hit midair and he flings the ball 90 miles per hour downfield, 30 yards downfield.
USC, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, against UCLA.
Oh.
I don't think that's going to happen in the National Football
Definitely
League
not.
because the caliber of the competition, the grown men you're going against, that doesn't exist.
The rushers coming off both edges nowadays are just...
But I do think that Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, which, I mean, if you're looking at Trevor Lawrence and you want to compare his makeup to somebody... I mean, that's one of the names that was thrown out there once upon a time to compare him to, besides Peyton Manning, of course, who I also think held on to the ball for a significant amount of time. Part of that was his offensive line in front of him, but also part of it was just the escapability, even if you're not considered to be this mobile quarterback. And so I think that's a narrative we're going to hear week in and week out this season because of Caleb. Hopefully because of Trevor as well, because I think, Lauren, a lot of the struggles in the second half of the season were when this offense became, okay, we just got to get the ball out in under 3 seconds. It's one thing in Miami with Tua Tagovailoa to do that because you have Tyreek Hill, because you have a track team.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, you're just getting the ball out in under 3 seconds and they're already 30 yards downfield.
Yeah.
That is not the case for 31 other NFL teams. And the Jaguars, whether it was because of Trevor's injury, whether it was because of a lack of confidence in the offensive line in front of Trevor, this idea of a short passing game simply because we need to keep the quarterback upright, I feel like that was a big reason why the offense bogged down. The idea of the 49ers sitting 10 defensive players in a box because they knew that that's what the Jags were doing.
The off-schedule plays are fun to watch, but a lot of times that's what ends up leading to mistakes by the quarterback because their feet aren't set and they are scrambling around and they think they see something, but the safety's tricking them, right? It's disguising things. And so that's where, whether it's Caleb, Trevor, all the young guys, they have to figure out when to take off and keep their eyes downfield, and other times when to just throw it away. And certainly that's something that we've talked about with Trevor specifically is learning to throw the ball away at times is your best move instead of trying to run it yourself and extend the ball, and then that's when he ends up fumbling. Look, the BTJ part, that's the fascinating part, is does the offensive line look better because Trevor has Brian Thomas Jr. downfield way faster and he trusts where he's going to be versus the fastest receiver on the team last year in Calvin Ridley? He didn't always trust where he was going to be. That's going to be the question for this season is can the offensive line get a little help from both Trevor learning things and the game slowing down, but also those receivers and the speed that they have?
Yeah, and I think that the fantasy football and the sabermetrics nerds of the internet have already answered that, Lauren. Just the number of times I saw the clip of the comeback route that Brian Thomas Jr. ran Saturday, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, he looks like T. Higgins." Like that's the part I take away from it. It's the fact that it's smooth, it's effortless, and there's speed there. And Trevor hasn't had that speed guy, so to speak, which is also fascinating because you also look at Brian Thomas Jr., and I remember even asking him this at the combine. Wow, man alive. I remember asking him this at the combine. Do you view yourself as a guy who stretches the field or as a burner? And the speed is, I know, something he takes a lot of pride in. You couple that with the doubling down with Gabe Davis and that idea of, well, now you're really going to create verticality in some form or fashion. No, he said the burner.
Okay.
Yeah, he said the burner, the speed. The speed was what he took more pride in, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it is. I think that's why he was able to do what he did in college, though, because I do think he can be both of those. And maybe the speed helps in a lot of aspects. There were multiple moments that when we were even at camp where he was just light years away from the closest defender, the Tampa Bay Bucks defenders, because he's just so quick immediately.
And that's what I hope to see week 1 against the Dolphins is the first play is Trevor airing it out to BTJ or to Gabe. And
set the tone.
Right. And the Dolphins are the ones on their heels.
They're fast too.
Exactly, because obviously that's what they're known for sure.
RJ, before we take our first break, let's hit that and continue a heated conversation we had last week.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
According to The Athletics and Ithaca College great Andrew Marchand, Mike Greenberg will replace the fired Sam Ponder as the host of ESPN's NFL Countdown. Marchand, of course, was the first on the news that both Ponder and RG3 had been let go by ESPN last week.
I know, boo.
It's just another guy that's been in the profession for a long time that brings absolutely nothing different, but that's just me. All right, we can continue that conversation. Certainly also, Taylor has a tangent, and I want to get to some Jaguars rookie conversation as well. Rick Ballou will join us in the second hour of the program to talk Florida State. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an Active Health Jacks Tuesday. If you have pain and you want to avoid surgery, visit them at activehealthjacks.com or call them 904-296-0202. We'll be back after this timeout on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Hi, I'm William Byron.
And the Daytona 500 goes to William Byron.
1010 XL, Jack Sports Radio.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again because it's unheard of across the country. 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I've known Glenn Coleman for a long time as a friend and a lawyer. Persistent and fair, Glenn and his firm have represented clients from North Florida and South Georgia for over 40 years in all kinds of personal injury cases. If I had such a case, call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Mia here. Are you ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just head on over to mybookie.ag, sign up, and you're ready to rock. When you bet with MyBookie, you're not just watching the games, folks. You're investing in every moment of the action. I'll say it from experience. A few bucks on the line can turn any regular game into one of the most exciting of the season. Literally, every catch, every sack, and every touchdown is another way to hit pay dirt using MyBookie. Don't forget to use promo code 1010XL when you sign up in order to claim up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Firehouse Subs, Hook and Ladder jingle, take one.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin slice.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast spread, mustard, mayo, purpose bread, lettuce, green, and onion.
The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. It is an Active Health Jacks Tuesday.
Before we dive into college football, more on the Jags, we're going to give our rookie grades so far and much more. I do want to give a traffic update, Lauren. Just got word from 1010XL MMA analyst Bo Valentine, also known as Kevin, my boyfriend. 95 South, a parking lot because of two overturned trucks, US 1 and 210 severely backed up. So if you are headed down south that way, make sure you try to plan an alternate route. You check your maps apps because, yeah, not a good situation down there right now.
Yikes. By the way, the song we just played, that RJ just played, is Riley Green's newest song called Rather Be. If you haven't heard it and you're a dude that's married or you're in a long relationship, You've got to play it for your significant other. It basically says that he'd rather watch daytime TV with his girlfriend's mom than hear her complain about him. There's a lot of different ones. That's just one of the funnier ones. But it's such a great song. And it's basically like if you're one of those women that, is one of those drip, like you just constantly are nagging. And it starts to really get on your husband's nerves. Well, have him play the song for you, and then you'll realize, there's a lot of things that he really despises about my complaining. Maybe I should be a little bit more positive. And since I'm a female, I can give that advice to the other ladies. By the way, Taylor, how do you feel about Mike Greenberg?
Yeah, I think that, it's, don't hate it, don't love it. I personally would have picked, there would have been other choices first for me. We went about this last week I love Sam Ponder. I think she was fantastic, and I'm very upset that she will not be there. But I think he's one of the ones that I've respected his opinions and his analyst. So it's not somebody where I'm like, this is somebody that I can't stand listening to, which is a positive.
And like I said last week, and I understand there are those of you who disagree with Mike Greenberg's takes, with Stephen A. Smith's takes. The reason those two are paid as nicely as they are is because you can't avoid them. And I know that's where now a lot of the frustration comes from for those of you who consume the Mouse Network, because you can't deny the work ethic. Again, kind of like Stephen A. This man's out here doing a radio show, doing a podcast, doing Get Up, now doing Countdown, also fills in on NBA. Like the list does the draft. The list goes on. And so I'm never going to question his work ethic, but I do agree that this pushing certain characters to the front of the line, which, hey, they work for it. I'm not going to question that. I said last week, I would have loved to have seen our friend Laura Rutledge in this role, even though I don't know if she sleeps, because she has a lot of hats that she's wearing currently up there in Connecticut. But I can't say I'm surprised. And it's just going to kind of, I think, unfortunately, bleed right into the rest of NFL programming at ESPN right now, which a lot of it features Mike Greenberg. And so it won't really be that standalone. Yeah. It's Chris Berman, it's Sam Ponder. It gives it a different feel.
I like when the person is an expert on the topic, like we talked about. Yeah. And I think Sam Ponder not being asked to do so many different things allowed her to watch a lot more football. And there's no chance that Mike Greenberg can watch as much, because of his work schedule, can watch as much football as she does. And so I thought she was a tremendous professional, and I think it's a loss. And I'm still waiting for her to say something, to speak out on it like RG3 did. Yeah,
in case you missed it, you should go back and listen to, I think that was Friday's program when we reacted live to the firings, or Wednesday. I forget what day the news broke. Again, unfortunately, I'm a cynic when it comes to television. Mm-hmm. This is the way of the world. If you can find someone who will do 19 jobs for the same price as someone who will do one, that's where we're getting further and further away from the specialized reporting that Laura and I agree with you. I think that there is something to that quality, but it's not feasible, at least to the TV executives' minds, despite the insane dollar signs that you are seeing from live programming, maybe not so much as studio programming, at national networks in this day and age. I do want to read one reply to Andrew Marchand's report, because, I just think if we can look at this glass half full and have a laugh. This is from Jeff on X. I love Greeny. Terrible move. The man is on TV enough. Let him stay home on Sundays with his family so he can watch the Jets lose in peace. Thank you, Jeff.
And to the point of talking about how much guys like Stephen A. Smith do, and the price of doing the same thing, I don't even think, because he's making like $13 million a year, Stephen A. And right. I think she was making, her 3-year contract was $3 million total.
$1 million each.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a large difference. And because he is doing so much, like he's doing so many other things, but he's also getting paid $13 million a year to do so. So for me, when it comes to that, she was only making, I say only, I would take $1 million a year, but it was $1 million to $13 million. So she was doing less, but she was making significant less too.
And I just think she's really well respected. Yeah. And Stephen A., people tend to, I would say, more or less laugh at some of the things that he has to say and the mistakes that he's made. And again, I understand how you make those mistakes when you're not immersed in it, because you are spread too thin. And that's where the diehard sports fan knows if you know your stuff. And Greenberg knows the Jets incredibly well. He'll be great on that on the show.
That's why the Jets are going to continue to lead Get Up, regardless of what happens. But
exactly.
Although
more Aaron Rodgers.
I would compare the Jets, honestly. I mean, it's the 2021 Jaguars. It's either going to be an absolute dumpster fire or it's going to be a blaze of glory. Either way, I feel like I will be entertained in some form or fashion. And Hopefully it's the blaze of glory for our entertainment factor. Or not the blaze of glory. Sorry. I want the dumpster fire.
Yeah, I was about to say me
Yeah,
too,
the dumpster
please.
fire is more fun from afar. But certainly, look, and I know for Taylor, this is hard, but I'm going to say it. When Aaron Rodgers is playing at an MVP level and his team is not playing your team, it is incredibly entertaining to watch. He is the player that, and I've said this before on the air and I'll say it again, when people ask me, like, who was my team growing up? My dad was a primitive modern NBA fan in that, which is hilarious because he doesn't really watch the NBA. We didn't root for teams as kids growing up. There were individual players that he was like, this guy plays the game right. His mechanics are so sound. If you want to watch how to throw a football, watch this guy. And Aaron Rodgers was always one of those guys. And so is he kooky as heck off the field? Yes. But I do think mechanically speaking, it is nice to watch. It's aesthetically pleasing. But I also am rooting for the chaos because, well, who wouldn't?
Yeah, when you're 24-5 again, or 5-24 against somebody, it's not as fun to watch. It's not as fun.
I also think Greenberg is going to be opinionated.
Yeah.
And so he's not going to lay out and let Randy Moss give his opinion as fully as he could do, or Teddy Bruschi or Rex Ryan. Like, those are the stars of the show, in my opinion. And that's what Sam did such a good job of, is teeing them up and allowing them to show their expertise and inserting her opinion where need be. But again, that's just me. I'm over Greenberg. I think he does enough, and I'm still sad about Sam. All right, when we come back, Taylor has a tangent. We will also do our Jaguars rookie grades. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an active Health Jacks Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We are helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
Mia here. It's the sale that's sweeping the nation. It's the national sales event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Why shop the national sales event at Arlington Toyota? 2 words for you. Huge selection. Arlington's lot is packed with new Toyotas in stock in one location. But you ask Mia, is now really the right time to buy? Let me put your mind at ease thanks to Arlington's 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new Toyota purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Worried about financing? There's the Arlington Credit Helper. You even get a complimentary car wash with every service. And did I mention, customers love Arlington. There's a 4.7-star rating and over 20,000 Google reviews online right now. I feel the love for sure. And you will too when you shop with our friends at Arlington Toyota. Don't wait. Now through September 3rd, shop the national sales event at Arlington Toyota. In person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 133541.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here for Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade, perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app online or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant, or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
Life has its share of challenges, and when it puts you to the test, make sure you reach out to Rebound Rehabilitation to give you the quickest path back to full health and confidence. Rebound Rehab, specializing in helping patients overcome back pain and sciatica, arthritis, and fibromyalgia, just to name a few. Rebound Rehab, locations covering the entire First Coast, getting you back in control with a pain-free life. Sports injury, workplace injury, whatever it might be, you can rebound. Log on to reboundrehab.com for more info.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 20th, 1938, New York Yankees future Baseball Hall of Fame first baseman Lou Gehrig hits record 23rd and final Grand Slam in an 11-3 win over the Philadelphia A's.
Hon, what do you say we go to the supermarket today?
Again? Weren't we just there yesterday?
Well, yeah, but it's just so nice and cool in there.
Why don't we just get our air conditioning fixed?
Can we afford it?
We can with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. They offer financing.
Oh, cool.
Yes, it will be.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts. Repairs to new installations. Trust the Duck to keep your cooling costs low. DuckDuckAC.com.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Lauren Brooks for Big Chief Tire. Summer is here, and that means road trips, beach outings, and family vacations. Before you hit the road, make sure your car can handle the heat with a visit to Big Chief Tire. Their skilled technicians will get your vehicle in top shape, ensuring it's ready for those summer road trips. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your summer checkup today.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about HardballCreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Welcome to ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner and home to Xerox and HP copiers. From IT management to VoIP phone systems, Advanced Business Solutions is the right name to know.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
This Friday, the Jaguars will wrap up their preseason in Atlanta when they face the Falcons. The Jags are 2-0 ahead of their final tune-up game. Head coach Doug Peterson spoke with the media on playing starters for their third preseason game.
Yeah, this third and final preseason game, we usually let the starters play a little bit more, and again, it depends on the circumstance and the way the game goes, but you'd love to get maybe 2 quarters, out of them. We do take a look at Atlanta a little bit, and we simulate a game week schedule-wise now that camp is broke, and that's probably the only reason these weeks are important to get the guys no longer in the hotel, they're living at home, transportation here, all that kind of stuff. It simulates, sort of feels like a game week.
Courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Just at the field on fire, just cutting across the pasture.
Morgan Wallen and Ernest on this one. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you, hanging out on this Active Health Jacks Tuesday. Yesterday, Taylor's Tangent was about Simone Biles and her fashion faux pas. What will today's be about? Taylor, take it away.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So ESPN dropped a list, their top 5 NFL teams most likely to decline this season. So on their list, they have the Eagles, the Steelers, the Giants, the Ravens, the Browns. So it got me thinking about which ones I possibly would think are most likely to decline. But in the process of that, I was like poor Giants fans, because they already had a bad season, and then now they're talking about getting worse. And that's after spending a high pick on someone like Malik Neighbors. And it has to be frustrating for them to see just kind of paying Daniel Jones and then the process of now how this last couple years has gone. But the Philly one is interesting to me, and I feel like a lot of people have talked about this. I heard Dan and Jeff talking about it, and Jeff was saying he thinks that they are, they're going to look worse this season too. And I think after the way, did they catch lightning in a bottle 2 seasons ago, getting that 70-plus sacks, and how much did that help? Because we saw it here in Jacksonville. We saw when that defense was able to score a ton and get a ton of turnovers in 2017, how much that just helps everything, because obviously your offense is in better field position. They don't have to score as much because your defense is scoring. They're getting a ton of turnovers, so the other teams are not scoring against you. The Bears saw it in 2018, and then both teams had drastic declines that following season. Now, we saw that from Philly 2 years ago to last year, the little bit of a decline they had. Does that continue? And I think that is an interesting conversation, because which Jalen Hurts are we going to see, the one from 2 years ago or last year? And honestly, last year he wasn't very efficient. So that was an interesting one to me. But the other ones, I think the Steelers, that's what it seems like they're dealing with in the quarterback room is going to be interesting to watch. They don't know who's starting between Russ Wilson and Justin Fields. Neither of them, I think they've scored like 15 total points in the preseason. They haven't been able to score offensively a ton, and that's with George Pickens on the field. That's with both of your guys that are battling for your number one spot on the field and playing for the majority of games. I mean, Russ is getting a half and Justin's getting a half, and you're not able to score. So those are your two guys. Those are your choices. So that one will be interesting. Also, the Ravens, I don't expect the Ravens to get worse. I think Lamar definitely had probably one of his better seasons, and they won 13 games. And I think more so maybe that's why they say there's a decline, just because maybe it will be more of like a 10-11 win season. Just with how that division looks. So that one will be also another interesting one to look at. But then the Browns, we talked about, I think I said a stat where it was like they were missing their left tackle, their main pass rusher, their main wide receiver, like multiple things. Nick Chubb obviously missed the whole season. They were missing 5 key starters last season and made the postseason. And we just mentioned at the top of this show how much was that defensive help. So to me, all of these teams, I think, have valid reasons of how you could see them not have the number of wins that they had last season.
Because the defense is how sustainable is that year over year. It's funny you should bring up the Eagles, Taylor, because I was actually thinking about this on my drive into work today. We always see a team, and we'll make our divisional picks in the next 2 weeks before the season kicks off. We always see a team that goes from worst to first. And the obvious one, I think, for many will be the Cincinnati Bengals. Just like, 2 years ago, it was the Baltimore Ravens because Lamar Jackson was hurt. This is water's wet. This is the obvious layup pick. I know the Chargers are a trendy one, even though I do not see a world in which the Chiefs are usurped in the West. And so I was thinking about, okay, what are the most competitive divisions? And of course, the NFC North, is my first thought, because I believe it will be one of the best divisions in football. But could we see the Lions tumble in favor of one of those other 3 teams? I think that's fascinating.
Would you put them on the list of teams that could decline this year?
Yes, absolutely. Just because I think while I would love to see them hit their quote-unquote ceiling and make a Super Bowl, I wonder if this is their ceiling at this current juncture for all the reasons we just outlined when we talked about a great offensive line, but questions in terms of the health of Jahmyr Gibbs, the questions of who do you have besides Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta? Can you actually stretch the field vertically on offense? Who is your other pass rusher besides Aiden Hutchinson? So that's why I have questions about them. But to your point, because I know we want to get to rookie grades, I know there are plenty of folks, including some of my contemporaries, our contemporaries on the Jaguars beat, who believe the Washington Commanders are going to be booty. But I'm genuinely curious if we do see a scenario much like the AFC South in 2022 in the NFC East in 2024. Could we see a scenario where because the Eagles step back and they're 9-8, that opens up the door for one of those other 3 teams? Because I'm not sure the Cowboys are going to be quite as good as everybody thinks they are either, between the CeeDee Lamb situation, between Dak Prescott being unhappy, even if they're progressing towards a contract. The defense, can it be sustainable, knowing that they lost their play caller, who was very much a player's coach? Now they bring in Mike Zimmer, a little bit more of a totalitarian. Yeah. So I sat there as I was driving, and I was like, I know everybody's down on the Commanders, but if those 2 teams take a step back, does that open the door for one of those teams to go from worst to first?
Yeah, see, I had them as my team this year to surprise people. So I'm actually pretty high on the Commanders, and everybody I've talked to that are closer to that organization or that division also, we just saw Jaden Daniels get named as the starter, so pretty quickly they're already seeing what they want to see out of Jaden Daniels. I personally like Terry McLaurin a ton. They have young guys in a Jahan Dotson. You still have Zach Ertz, who's at the end of his career, but when he's healthy, he's still able to make plays.
And the way that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn built this team with free agent guys who, Tyler Biotish is the first name I think of, the center they brought in from Dallas with Dan Quinn. Like, that's a guy who I look at and I say that's akin to bringing in Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
A guy who you believe his best football is still ahead of him. He's 26 years old. This is bringing him in to help bring along a young quarterback.
And then also they went and got Frankie Louvu, who's
one
a
of the
really
best
good player
linebackers,
in the league last year, and that's adding to Daron Payne and adding to Bobby Wagner. So I think that they've started to build it the way it needs to go, that good mix of young and veterans that are. So I think they can be a really interesting team.
I think the door has to be open, though.
Yes.
For the reasons of your tangent.
Yes.
That the Eagles and Cowboys take a step back.
I'll be shocked if the Ravens are one of the teams that take a step back. Yeah. I mean, to add a guy like Derrick Henry is, to me, you're automatically going to win a couple extra games just because you have him to hand the ball off to, as long as he can stay healthy. The Eagles' discourse,
and they don't just push tush.
Right. The Eagles' discourse, I think, is fascinating without Jason Kelce, and with the fact that you have Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni having issues last season. That, to me, is the start of the foundation cracking.
Yes.
And we know here it's completely different, and this is the team, obviously, that we cover day in and day out. They're all in the symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia, we all know what happened when Doug Peterson was there. Once you do have those cracks, that's when the whole cookie can crumble. And so I would put the Eagles as a team that I do think could disappoint. And the Steelers, we just have no idea.
Yeah.
I've seen some people say Justin Fields. Right. I've seen people say Justin Fields should absolutely be the starter based off of what we've seen. And other people say absolutely not. Russell Wilson should be the starter. And so I do think Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin has the best culture of probably any team in that division.
If there's any team that you can say there's a quarterback controversy and they're not sure who their quarterback's going to be and things are kind of mediocre in certain areas, but they have a good defense and they could win, it's Mike Tomlin's Steelers.
He's going to find a way to get to 500. It's unfortunate for the rest of the AFC North and the rest of the AFC, but he's going to find a way to at least get to 500.
Yep, that is absolutely correct. All right, so Jaguars rookie grades, and you can do whether you want to do an actual grade or stock up, stock down. We'll start with, of course, the first round pick, number 23 overall, Brian Thomas Jr. You know I was effusive in my praise for him leading into the draft, and I've been nothing short of impressed ever since. Yes, he had a little bit of a slow start to training camp, but that's by design because they were doing a lot of that short yardage stuff, intermediate throws. When we've seen him play in the preseason games, I get chills thinking about what he can do to torch NFL defenses. So our expectations were already super high for him, for me, and my stock is up.
Yeah, I'm not going to give anybody an A disclosure just because I don't want to say.
Mia?
Actually, I take that back. I'm giving Cam Little an A. That's about it. And probably an A- just because he missed the 62-yarder. And I know Cam would tell you that he would give himself the minus because he missed a kick that I'd say 65-70% of the league can't make, but he can, and so therefore I'm giving him the A-.
I did see Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey hit a 66-yarder.
Yeah, he's out of the XFL. He's elite.
Cam certainly is.
And I think Cam trains with him because he's referenced him to me before, so I think he does train with him or something like that. Don't quote me on it though. So BTJ, I'm going to give a solid B. I think that part of why it's an unfinished grade is simply because, and I understand and respect Press Taylor and Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk, for that matter, stressing that when they sat down to outline what training camp would look like, they knew they had to build it from short intermediate routes to those deep passes. That's where we know Brian Thomas Jr. excels and is at his best, and that's where he is expected to contribute to this offense immediately. And so it's a BB plus right now solely for that reason. One sneaky underrated part of his game that he talked about in his introductory press conference back in April, and it showed up on tape over the weekend, the blocking. Everyone wants to talk about Anton, how he pancaked two dudes on that run by Tank Bigsby. You know who else is blocking on the right side of that play? Brian Thomas Jr.
Well, and it's something we talked about, how the addition of Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis could potentially be Tim Jones' job, because now you have wide receivers who can catch and block, and you just didn't have that previously. But yeah, I think I would say only because, so if you were just to say off of the preseason games, I feel like it would be hard to give him higher than a B minus, just because you haven't seen a ton. It's been a couple catches in 2 games. So But because we've seen more than that, because we have the preseason and what he's been, in the training camp and what he's been able to do there, and we've seen him be just play after play when it comes to camp, that does rise it a little bit for me. So I still would probably say a B+ for Brian Thomas Jr. But agreed. I think that for him, B+, but Cam Little is my only A also. But I do think you already are seeing everything you want out of Brian Thomas Jr., and that's what you can ask for through this part of where we are in the preseason.
I think he deserves an A just for the fact that he had to take the Gabe Davis telling everyone that he's single and teammates the other day at training camp practice when it was Jags v. Bucks, the joint practices. Gabe and Elijah Cooks were both like dancing up on BTJ, and he just stood there.
Yeah.
And he's able to just still be himself throughout this. And I'm
you
sure
and you were like, I wonder if I wish he would just like break down right now, like just start dancing, and we would have been like, yes.
And but that's that's obviously not his personality.
Yeah.
And I love that even though people have tried to kind of get him to break out of his shell, is what they call it. He's just who he is, and who he is going to be, I think, an elite receiver in this league. So unlike y'all, I'll give BTJ an A. All right, Mason Smith.
So you're an A, or so Lauren's an A for BTJ. Just to recap, I'm a B. Taylor, you are
B+.
B+. Got you. Mason Smith, I'm going to give him a B-, but that is with the stock clearly trending upward. I heard from more than one person in the building during the off-season portion of the calendar year, so back in June, some questions of, okay, we know he's raw. You can't teach the tangibles, or the measurables of this young man. That is the reason Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson selected him. But how soon will he be ready? He has progressively gotten better, flashed each day as training camp has progressed. And I think that really culminated on Saturday night. I tweeted it out. There was one play, if you go back and watch, he quite literally, and I understand this was the Bucs' like second or third team offensive line, he literally brought the center and both guards with him as he pushed the pocket. That is where I believe that it's so fascinating with Mason's game, because he can be an interior pass rusher, but get to the quarterback. But that push, Lauren and Taylor, that we talked about that was sorely missed without Devon Hamilton, if he can just simply create push and create opportunities off the edge for Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, that is a win as well in his rookie year, even if the stats aren't quite as gaudy as they could be down the line.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to say B- also. This last week, I know pressure percentage-wise, win rate, he was the highest on the Jags. He was the highest scored pass rush win rate.
That's a saucy nug, by the way,
yes.
RJ.
And but only one pressure in that, but he had some hurries and other things you like to see out of it. I think that, yes, it was a third, fourth string offensive line. There was 3 rookies playing on their interior for the Bucs. So it's hard for me to completely judge that, because it is not what he's going to be facing once the regular season kicks off. But we're just judging it off what we've seen, and what we've seen, he's been able to handle what he's been asked to do. And so that is enough for me to give a B-.
Saucy nugs.
There you go. I'll give him a B+ because of certain people that I trust that know football so well. When they talk about Mason Smith, their eyes light up. The possibilities that this guy can bring to the table. To me, it's basically like an Eric Armstead being drafted right out of college. And wow, look at the versatility of this guy. Look at the power. Mason Smith has all of that. And he met with the media yesterday, and he talked about how Josh Hines-Allen, they obviously play a little bit different of positions, but how JHA has helped him.
Really just from a mental aspect, just being able to, just know that you're that guy and continue to grow and push. And, he's always told me really just to, don't wait. You got to go attack it now. It's there for me now. So, just being able to go and fully commit to doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing.
Mason's a guy that has such great people around him, such great guys to learn from who have played in this league for a long time now and who have excelled at those defensive line positions. And I think we are going to talk about him in a couple of years as, wow, this guy's going to get the next contract and it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's a B- with the arrow trending up, because I think that fans may be disappointed if the stats aren't there. I would equate his development to Trayvon Walker's, his rookie season. How Trayvon had 3.5 sacks and he jumped all the way up to 10. Mm-hmm. Different position, different player, but the development, not just because the measurables are similar, the development is going to be similar. And so that's where you have to be patient and you have to bank on the coaching from Ryan Nielsen and the defensive staff.
I'm glad they drafted Mason in the second round and not the first, because then, yes, I think people would compare him more to some other guys, and I don't think that's fair based off of the injury. All right, before we get to Jarian Jones on the other side and our Heels highlights, we have Chick-fil-A for lunch today.
Lunch on the ladies. Lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. We'll say caller number 4.
Call number 4, and like I said, when we return, we will get to our highlights and continue our rookie grades. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an Active Health Jacks Tuesday. You can give them a call, 904-296-0202. Visit them at activehealthjacks.com. If you have any pain, you can do what I did. Go see my friends at Active Health Jacks, and you will not have pain anymore. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Climb aboard the Jacksonville Sports Radio train.
All aboard!
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Lauren Brooks here. Come test drive the Mazda CX-90, engineered to fit your lifestyle. Take advantage of 1.9% APR for up to 72 months on a 2024 Mazda CX-90. That's the largest three-row SUV that Mazda offers. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interest first, and you'll get 2 years of free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expire September 3rd, 2024.
Ryan and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World, simply the best for less. And thank you for your business.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
For birthdays, anniversaries, or any situation that requires something really special, visit the Kuhn Flowers showroom on Beach Boulevard and select something that you can't find anywhere else. 1010XL's Andrew Gibson here, and that's the direction I head, Kuhn Flowers.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Hayes Carlion for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mortgage rates have plummeted, and Loan Pronto clients are locking in the lowest rates we've seen in years. Hey, it's Roger Moore, founder and CEO of Loan Pronto. It's happening. We are finally locking APRs in the fives, something we haven't seen for a long time. If that sky-high rate is killing you or you need to get cash out of your home equity, now is the time to take action. Or listen, even if you want to keep that first mortgage rate intact, you can take advantage of lower rates with our Equity Express line of credit. We're seeing homeowners take 50, 75, 200 grand or more out of their equity and wiping out that high-interest debt with an average savings of $850 per month. Bottom line, your home value is way up and mortgage rates have come way down, making this a great time to act. Call today for a 30-second rate quote. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. The Florida Gators completed scrimmage number 2 of training camp this past weekend. Coach Billy Napier spoke with the media yesterday, stating this is the most depth they've ever had.
It's very evident that there's great competition. We definitely have more depth than we've ever had. And it's a long season, right? We will need everybody. We're going to need every single person. I think it's important that we embrace our role and we work hard to earn more. Depth is critical in this league and certainly with the schedule that we have.
The Gators are 11 days away until they open their season against Miami in the Swamp. Over in Nashville, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp take on the Sounds for a 6-game series with first pitch tonight at 7:35. It's 90 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. Taylor, this sounds like a Taylor song.
Yeah, it is. And I was actually about to say the song is actually called Vegas, and it made me think that we had our giveaway for the Vegas giveaway. We'll officially announce the winner and all of that soon. But we also still have the hotel package going on. So if you are looking for that, it's $500 hotel package, 3-night stay in Vegas the weekend the Jags are playing the Raiders. You also get a $200 voucher, the day bed, to the Heels
Stadium
huddle
Slam.
that we'll be having for the pregame party. So really good deal if you're still looking, if you're heading out there but just need maybe a little help with the hotel side of things. I feel like it's great. So go on our website. On the main page, you'll see a flash. It will take you directly to where you book.
So somebody won the $500.
Yeah, I
to
wonder
Circa
who
Resort
it will
and
be.
Casino.
We will announce that soon with another exciting video on the 1010XL social channels. So stay tuned for who that winner may be.
That person is going to have a heck of a weekend, as are we.
Yeah,
all right.
me too.
Time for our highlights. RJ, take it away.
Now, here's highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
Quarterback Gardner Minshew connects with wide receiver Trey Tucker for a 48-yard gain during the first quarter against the Dallas Cowboys.
He pumps. He takes a deep shot. Tucker is open, and he had to wait for it, but he came down with it. He saw him. If he kept him to the corner, he might have scored, but instead it's a deep ball to Tucker again.
Lexi Hull goes for a career-high 22 points. Caitlin Clark breaks the WNBA rookie assist record, and we've got a fever.
It's Mitchell speeds into the paint, curls around. Hull connects. Lexi Hull have a day. 5 of 6 from downtown. Clark lobbing it in. Boston draws 2 in the corner. Hull, you bet.
Caleb Williams connects with Romo Junze for a highlight play in preseason.
He's looking downfield, nothing there. Spins away, throws on the move. It is caught! Roma Junze connects with his fellow rookie.
So this week, I knew for a fact what both of y'all were going to pick.
Yeah.
I knew this one was super easy. I knew it would be a WNBA highlight regarding Caitlin Clark from Mia. I knew for sure it would be Caleb Williams for you, Taylor. But I bet y'all had no idea what I was going to pick.
No, but I love it. I saw the video today of Gardner Minshew, and it's people being, it was just him working out. He has a really nice mullet right now going on.
That's the focus for Taylor Doll, in case you're wondering.
Good one, Minshew. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm pumped for Gardner. I know that there is the thing, we had the conversation many times of how he's a really fun quarterback, and sometimes that funness doesn't always transfer to wins, and we had that here. But Minshew, what he was able to do in Indy last year, and with a team that most people kind of had counted out, and then come in and get them to 9 wins towards the end of the season. And then I just think also he has his moments, he has his flashes. Is it going to be perfect all of the time? No, but he just has that personality where it's hard to not root for Gardner Minshew.
I don't want to say he's a gamer, but that's honestly that's how I just feel about Gardner.
Yeah.
And we know who he is. We understand he's not a top 10 quarterback necessarily in the National Football League. I go back to even his rookie training camp, Lauren. Like, there were people questioning, like, is this guy actually, like, legit? Can he actually play in the National Football League? And then he comes out and he's 18 of 20 in his first game action against, the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. And so that's where I don't want to say someone is like a practice player versus a game player, but that is a real thing across sports. And that's what Gardner is. And I'm glad he's going to have the opportunity to show it on Sundays, at least to begin the season in Las Vegas. It can be so hard to look at a training camp or a practice and be like, but you got to look at the intangibles. You have to look at the track record. And the fact that, yes, certainly Shane Steichen was a big reason why the Colts did what they did last year and were 1 win away from a playoff game. But I would also think that Gardner guiding that ship was also an important part of it.
Yeah, I think it also helps when you have a guy like Devontae Adams and now Brock Bowers getting added into the mix offensively.
A little bit better weapons, at least at the tight end position than in Indy.
Yes.
My favorite part of the highlight, though, is when he said he had to wait for it because it was a 48-yard bomb. But the problem is Gardner's deep pass versus some other people's deep pass.
Take a little bit longer to get there.
Yeah, it has that arc, which makes it a little easier to catch. But yeah, look, I think most of Jacksonville, still cheers Gardner on, as long as he certainly wasn't playing for the Colts. Obviously, last year you don't want to have to face him and have him win. But I think people still root for him because he had such a love affair with the fans here and with the city of Jacksonville. But at the end of the day, the Jags do take on the Raiders. We were just talking about how we're going to be there for that in late December. And the Jaguars, defensively, if Gardner's still the starter, will have to game plan for his mobility. He does a lot of stuff off schedule, and he's never going to change. That's always going to be who he was. And that's the reason that he was a better fit at the time here in Jacksonville than Nick Foles, because Nick Foles at that moment wasn't mobile, and really throughout his career wasn't mobile. And the offensive line here wasn't great, and so Gardner was the better fit once upon a time. All right, let's get it.
Sorry, real quick on the other side of that, because obviously the Raiders were playing Dallas. Trey Lance actually looked really good in that game too, and it's I've said it a few times on here that I feel like Trey Lance was given up on too soon, and I think injury kind of wrapped up into that. but I've seen multiple people break down Trey Lance's film in the games that he has played. And he obviously has an arm. That's something we always knew Trey Lance had. But he was 15 for 23, 151 yards and a touchdown in this game. And there was like some Dallas fans being like, uh-oh, Dak, like, watch out, Trey Lance is here. I don't think we're quite there, but I do think we are.
Terrible the week before.
Yeah, I do think that he's never got to be properly developed. He's kind of just been like, okay, injury, missed a bunch of time. So people kind of were like, all right, is he going to be? Then he gets injured at the start of the game 1 against the Bears the next year. And then they just he got tossed around a little bit. And so I think that maybe if someone is able to properly develop him, not saying he's a starter in the league, but I think he can have a place in the league.
Did you guys know that Trey Lance is entering year 4 of his NFL career, and he is younger than Bo Nix?
So crazy.
Just file that one away. File that one away for later.
Taylor, I'm sure you knew this. Mia, I don't know if you did. I'm just now realizing this. These are the first 3 games on the Bears' schedule. The Titans at home, at the Texans, at the Colts.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Are the Bears
we play the
in
whole
the AFC South?
Yeah.
We have the whole.
That's interesting.
We'll be
AFC
rooting
South.
for the Bears the first 3 weeks.
And then there's like a couple week break, and then it's the Jags in London.
Anybody who has an issue with Taylor Dahl talking about the Bears, you are going to be rooting for the Bears the first 3 weeks of the season.
Be nice to me, okay? It's their schedule's so weird because they play almost the entire AFC South within the first 6 weeks, and then they don't have a divisional game until week 11. We play all our division games after week 11 on. So it is a very odd schedule. We'll see how that goes. But yes, you'll be cheering for me quite a bit in the first few weeks.
For Caleb and for Rome, like you just heard in the highlight. All right, the WNBA, Mia, I feel like the vitriol towards Caitlin Clark had lessened during the Olympics because she wasn't a part of that team, and so people kind of just took a break like she did. But then the most recent game with the foul and everything, people I feel like are back up in arms.
Oh, we're all the way back. Look, I mean, we got 2 more weeks till the NFL kicks off. I know college football kicks off in earnest this weekend, but if there's nothing else going on, if the WNBA is in session, people will be finding things to pick at Caitlin Clark for. The 2 big sticking points for Caitlin, and then we'll get to my highlight because I think we want to focus on the positives on this program. So the foul. It wasn't we'll start with like when she got teed up. So she got teed up because she missed a shot. She was mad at herself and she like hit the padding of the net.
Right.
And just was like, darn it, and like hits it. And the ref teed her up and then went up to her and said, you are a disrespect to the game, or like you're disrespectful to the game of basketball. And she was like, what? Like, I'm just mad at myself. Like, I'm just letting my frustration out at myself. I'm not directing it towards the opposition. I'm not directing it towards my team, to the officials. Like, I'm just mad at myself, which I'm not subscribing to wanting her to be like Kevin Brown, who once upon a time punched a wall and then missed the Yankees postseason run circa 2005. So I'm not endorsing that, but I do think it's okay for her to show emotion.
Yeah.
And she noted that this goes back to one time she got teed up in college because she yelled, darn it, the other version of it, and the refs teed her up for that. And she was like, that I'm okay with because I guess I yelled it loud enough. This, I just kind of was like, dang it. And yeah.
I once got a yellow card for saying the word hell in a soccer game.
Right. I mean,
that's ridiculous.
People get teed up for
Did
just
you tell
saying,
someone to go to it?
No, I just said, what the hell? That's all I said because I was trying to mark
like
2 different people. Yeah,
right.
and they gave me a yellow card.
It's like that. And it's, again, you put zebra stripes on somebody and they suddenly become like they're, state troopers. With all due respect to our state troopers. We love you, state troopers. You guys are actually doing good work to support our community. Let's be real, officials. Like I understand your job's important, but you're not out here saving lives. Then the other big controversial point was with Skylar Diggins and the idea of Caitlin was pumping up the crowd and she like intentionally like bumped her and Caitlin didn't do anything. She just kept pumping up the crowd. And I know that, plenty of folks have started posting that and saying, here we go again. They'll do anything just to, insert themselves into the anti-Caitlin propaganda, any other player in the league. Look, I mean, my takeaway from that was Caitlin kept bumping the crowd up. So for me, it's whatever. I mean, she's doing her job, which is to entertain and to win a basketball game. And to the conversation between Christy Sides and the head coach of the Seattle Storm, because the Seattle Storm coaching staff felt that they because the Fever were up 15, they should have pulled their starters earlier. Christy said, no, I'm not pulling them because Caitlin's going for a double-double and for a WNBA record, so I'm not pulling them. Also, you guys just clawed back from down 23 to take the lead. I'm not going to risk that. And apparently they took issue with that, to which my answer is play better. And maybe then you won't have to be complaining about someone pulling or not pulling their starters. To the positives, Lexi Hull left on the bench for the first 2 weeks of the WNBA season. One of the best 3 and D up-and-coming players in the W right now. She and Caitlin have developed a close friendship. Holly Rowe noted it during the broadcast. They play Monopoly together every single night. They're both 2 of the most competitive human beings you'll ever find. She had a career-high 22 points. It was honestly laughable. I think at one point, Caitlin said it afterwards. She's like, did she miss a shot in the fourth quarter? Lexi actually went 6 of 7 from 3, so she did miss a 3 at some point in time. I don't believe it was in the fourth quarter, though. A plus 20, plus minus differential, which is nuts. Aaliyah Boston with a plus 21 as well. She had a great game. The Fever are back. They go 2-0 in that homestand to begin the second half of the WNBA season. They are currently in the 7 seed, 2 games back. The first top 8 teams make the playoffs. I mean, look, Caitlin's averaging over 20 points a game, averaging a double-double. I love it. Yeah. I love it. And I think that what's great is this idea of, oh my goodness, she didn't make the Olympic team. She was so excited. Yeah. She was like, I need a break from basketball. I need to.
Oh, I'm sure. It's been nonstop for her since
last summer when they had the European tour at Iowa, her senior year. And so I know there's plenty of folks out there, regardless of what field you're in, you would agree. When you take a break from something, it proves you love it when you come back to it and you embrace it the way you do. And that's how she is. And it's fun to watch. And I can't wait to see the rest of the W get put on notice.
There you have it. When we return, we'll talk FSU. Rick Ballou joins us, and then we'll finish the show with our rookie grades for the Jacksonville Jaguars 2024 draft class. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an Active Health Jacks Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or repair it. From septic tank pump outs, drain field installations, clog drains, water heaters to repipes, they do it all. And they do it well. But don't just take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google and see what customers just like you are saying about their experience with Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit duckduckrooter.com to schedule service today.
Hey there, all you sports dads rocking the best dad bod possible. We love seeing you eat tacos by the handful, and we love it when you bring your kids here too. For years, Lucy claimed that her favorite thing on the menu was sopapillas, with big scoop of ice cream. I know that's not a taco, but that never stopped her. I was shooting for Dad of the Year anyway, so I just let it happen. Taco Lou's a great place to bring the family. There's something for everyone, as long as it starts with a taco. And a margarita for mom is always a good thing. At Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Tropical Smoothie Cafe here with your daily reminder to get on Tropic Time. Take 10. Sip a refreshing smoothie and manifest that you're a cabana side. Slade hot yoga? Treat yourself. Crushed back-to-back meetings? Get that me time. Adults at a little extra today? You deserve a vacay. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And look who's back and causing a stir. Our refreshing Island Punch, Mango Berry Cosmo, and Watermelon Mojito mocktail smoothies are here for a limited time.
Calling all fans of Duval to downtown Las Vegas during the game against the Silver and Black. This is Lauren Brooks from Helmets and Heels. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this December for the Jacksonville Game Day Getaway featuring an incredible all-in package. Get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. The all-in package is only available until August 30th, so act now. To book and to join the Heels in Vegas, visit circalasvegas.com today.
Hey gang, Hicken here for Zero Res. Man, it is hot outside this time of the year. Many of us are staying inside or going to the pool. Well, my friends at Zero Res are also heating things up. As you know, Zero Res does a great job of cleaning carpets and rugs. But they also clean luxury vinyl planking, tile and grout, fine stone and hardwood floors. And right now, the hottest price of the year, 25% off all hardwood cleaning. That's 25% off tile, LVP, fine stone, and hardwood floors. Zero Res, man, spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it backward. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey there, sports fans. This is Niall Lawrence Stample, former Seminole football player and proud owner of NLS Cleaning. Looking to get your business or home shining like a champion? Look no further. NLS Cleaning is your local go-to pressure washing and window cleaning servicer. Whether it's commercial or residential, we are fine-tuned like a team gearing up to win it all. So for a sparkling finish and a team that's truly committed to your satisfaction, check out our website at nlscleaning.net. NLS Cleaning, where every cleaning gets your business or home game ready for any occasion.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically, if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now, the Seminole Point of View with Rick Ballou. Brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Dream it, drive it.
Well, certainly all of Dublin, Ireland will be hearing that Seminole chant a lot this upcoming weekend. Rick Ballou does check in with us now, I believe live from Jaguars practice. But Rick, let's talk some Noles. The first depth chart was released. Any surprises for you?
I guess the only surprise for me would be I think the better wide receivers are third on the depth chart, and that's the future. Hakeem Williams, is a five-star. They're so high on him as a sophomore, but he's been unable to give it a go. He did nothing when they were here for 2 days practicing in Jacksonville. He's battling a hamstring. Elijah Moore is a young guy who they love. He's 6'4". He had 5 drops here in 2 practices. But, I look at some fifth-year seniors, guys like Williamson and Portier. I know they're second on that list. That's a little bit of a concern to me. They've been inconsistent. Malik Benson's the best. Then they're relying on, Jalen Brown from LSU and the return to Ja'Kai Douglas, who's had injury problems. But that's it, Lauren. I mean, this team, they are so good when it comes to running the football, stopping the run, and they have NFL corners. I think the only problem right now going in is the inconsistency with their passing game.
Rick, I spoke with not only Jarian Jones a few weeks ago to get a scouting report on the secondary he leaves behind in Tallahassee, but also caught up with Kalen DeLoach now with the Bucs last week when they were in Jacksonville for joint practices. And, he stressed that he thinks this front seven can be better than it was a year ago. Jarian Jones said he thinks the secondary can be better than it was a year ago. Do you agree with that sentiment?
It's amazing because you had, I think, 6 draft picks, and then Akeem Dent is still on an NFL roster. He played quite a bit at safety for Florida State, along with DeLoach, another undrafted free agent who's, on the 2 deep right now in Tampa. Yeah, I think it's accurate. Patrick Payton's put on 15 pounds of muscle. He looks unblockable. Marvin Jones Jr. is in somewhat, it's similar to Trayvon Walker here with the Jaguars, where the way he was used in college, Georgia used him so many different ways that finally in his 3rd year, it feels like with Ryan Nielsen's defense here, that we're going to get a taste of really what Trayvon Walker's all about. I met with Marvin Jones's dad, Shade Tree, the great Marvin Jones. It was probably a month ago, 5-6 weeks ago. He was in town here coaching Arena League football, and they didn't use him at Georgia the way that he's best. Now, Georgia doesn't have to apologize to anyone. They won 29 straight games and 2 national titles. But now you're going to see, with Adam Fuller, a real look at what they believe Marvin Jones Jr. does best, and that's getting after the quarterback. You look at a year ago, Joshua Farmer just took snaps away from Lovett, Fabian Lovett, and, certainly an opportunity now to see Darrell Jackson because of that waiver issue. Wasn't able to give it a go last year. So I would agree with that. I think the potential is there that this defensive line could be better than what Florida State actually had last year.
Now, Rick, when we're talking about what the offense could potentially look like, obviously a lot of the conversations are around DJ and, how good and how little mistakes he can make. But when you look at the differences of how he played at Clemson, especially in 2022, and they used him a lot in the run game, he was the dual side you could see, but at Oregon State, not so much. So far from what you've seen of their offense, what does it look like they are kind of game planning for that to look like?
Well, that's going to be the wild card because if you plug in the tape of DJU back a couple of years ago when he was with Clemson taking on Florida State, he was absolutely sensational in that area when it came to, running the football. So if he can make that part of his overall game plan now, it's going to make him that much more difficult to cover. He's a guy that he weighs 255 pounds. He's absolutely sensational, and I don't think people often really consider what he can do when it comes to running the football. And behind him, they have 5 backs that they believe in. You pass to score, but you run to win, and that's what Florida State has this year. If they have leads, it's the best offensive line I've seen them since their national championship team going back 11 years ago. They have a ton of experience, and they have some good players on that line, so they should be able to run the football. And if they're able to run the football, they should be able to hang on to leads.
And that's the thing, Rick, is if Florida State does generate a lot of offense through running the ball, then you take the pressure off of DJ Uiagalelei. If they're not able to run the ball and the pressure's put back on him, how do you think he'll fare against Tech?
Well, that is the great unknown, all right? If they find themselves in panic mode, if all of a sudden there's a big turnover or there's a pick six and you're down by a couple of possessions and all of a sudden you make Florida State one-dimensional, how are they going to be if they have to come from behind by passing the football? That is scary. There's not a lot of returning receptions on this football team. Florida State last year was very good, but they eked out wins. And, all of the footballs went to Coleman, Wilson, and Bell. The leading receiver is Toa Thiele out of the backfield. Now, there's a great example right there. Roydell Williams, I think, is going to be the bell cow, the transfer from Alabama. He's going to get the majority of the carries. But instead of sprinkling in these fifth-year seniors who've been inconsistent, I hope Mike Norvell has Roydell Williams in the backfield and takes Lawrence Toa Thiele and puts him in the slot, or takes the fastest kid on campus, Jalen Lucas, and puts him in the slot. But Mike Norvell is going to have to really call some great games this year and find the simplest ways to get the players that I just mentioned the football. If he can do that, I think they'll be okay. But if you're just talking about 3 wide receiver sets and trying to move the chains by passing to these wide receivers, I think it could be a very intriguing way here for Florida State. They could end up struggling.
Talking Knowles with Rick Ballou on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Couple more for you, Rick, as we know you are at Jaguars practice right now. What scares you the most? Big picture. You can give me a position group, a specific player. What or who scares you the most about Saturday in Dublin?
There's no question about it. It's wide receivers. I mean, they are just so inconsistent. There was a period here, one-on-ones, where 13 straight quarterbacks to wide receivers, there were incomplete passes. Now, we've been out here every day watching Jaguars do one-on-one drills. Can you imagine going 13 consecutive reps and not completing a pass? It's mind-boggling. That is the biggest concern. And kind of like the offensive line here with the Jaguars, I will say this, they know that in Tallahassee. They've heard it from everyone that they don't have a wide receiver that is near the caliber of the couple of guys they lost a year ago. So, you know, if you can get one to step up, that's Malik Benson. That's better than what you have right now. I think Malik Benson caught, 14 balls in his career at Alabama. Douglas last year was hurt most of the season. He was huge in that comfort behind win against Pittsburgh, but I think he ended up with, 11, 12, 13 receptions last year. So you don't have much experience, and you have the lack of consistency. The only other thing I'd throw in there is they really are going to miss Bethune and Deloach at linebacker, okay? They're so good on the line, and they're so good in the secondary. TJ Lundy's going to be fine. The Cam Riley kid who they got from Auburn is a huge linebacker. But, that if there was a problem on the defense, that is where it is at linebacker. I still think they're going to be okay, though. That side of the football should be real good this year.
Looking ahead to week 0, now right around the corner, Rick. So the Yellow Jackets they ended their season really strong. They won 3 of 5, the 2 losses, one of those being against a Georgia team that obviously we talk really high about, and I believe Clemson was the other. But we talked a ton about the run game for the Seminoles. Georgia Tech relies on their run game heavily, too, between Jamal Haynes and obviously quarterback Haynes King, both of those guys. But almost 60% of the time last year they were running the ball. We've talked a lot about how they look like grown men in the trenches for Florida State. How confident are you of them being able to stop the run against Georgia Tech?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun watch right there because Haynes King is so talented. He's a dual threat. I mean, he was a Jimbo recruit back at Texas A&M, and now he gets ready for his second season at Tech. But most of that offensive line is back. Their backs are back. They got a couple of 800-yard wide receivers who are back. And, if they're able to run, then that changes the entire complexion of the game because then all of a sudden you can put together these long drives and keep the Florida State offense on the other side. I do think, as I just mentioned, the linebackers, I think Cam Riley and DJ Lundy, this is a better run-stuffing linebacking core than it is a pass coverage linebacking core. So I think they'll have their moments, but I actually believe when it's, strength on strength here, I'm going to give the edge to Florida State's defensive front seven. I think there'll be times where they get hit, but overall I think Florida State will do a good enough job here. And that's what they're going to take on early in the year because, a week from Monday or Labor Day evening, BC rolls into town with Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone now as his offensive analyst upstairs. They're going to run the ball as well. So Florida State's going to see that in their first 2 opponents, dual-threat quarterbacks, but teams that really rely on running the football.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you for Saturday's noon kickoff?
I'm not nervous at all right now on a Tuesday, okay? I'm going to enjoy this Tuesday and then take it through the rest of the week. I've always, with the opening game, and this was with LSU, the last couple of years, I've always kind of taken it as you don't know what you're going to see until you actually get out there. And I think with the new college football playoff rules, even after everything that happened to Florida State a year ago, they could lose this game on Saturday and then find their way and turn around. And as long as they win the ACC, they'll be okay. So I don't know if I'll be nervous. It's more of an anticipation. It's more of an excitement, if you will.
Well, you're better than me because I'm already nervous about Florida, Miami, and that's in 2 weeks. Rick, we really appreciate it. We look forward to catching up with you every other week this football season, talking Knowles.
All right, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. There he goes. Rick can get back to practice. We've got one segment to go. We will finish up our rookie draft grades for the Jaguars draft class of 2024. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. It's an Active Health Jacks Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of new vehicles. Camrys starting at $329 a month. RAV4s for $349 a month. Tundras as low as $499 a month. And they all come with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected for the next 20 years. Plus, every purchase will help fund a teacher's project in our schools. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota St. Augustine. Deadline August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Mia here. Are you ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just sign up at mybookie.ag and you are ready to rock. On MyBookie, it's not just about picking winners, folks. It's easy to take advantage of props like team win totals or early picks for playoff contention. Last year, MyBookie had some of the best odds on the market for the Wolverines to win the national championship, and Michigan bettors who backed their squad saw a 10 times return on their wager. Lock your futures in now while you're waiting for the season to begin, and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus up to $1,000 on that first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to start the college football season off with some house money. Don't ever miss out on the action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Injured in an accident? Have mounting medical bills? Can't work? Don't worry. Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan of Von Rowan Law. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve. Set up your free consultation at zachsgotyourback.com.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Don't just watch the position, learn the position.
Denny Thompson is the quarterback whisperer, and he knows.
We invite you into the lab so that you can truly learn the quarterback position.
Friday mornings on The Drill, brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Jeff Lagerman here. Now that football season is here, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any of the 27 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions, and more. Napa Auto Care offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace-of-mind warranty on most repairs. Find a Napa Auto Care Center near you. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Wide receiver Parker Washington has stood out in both preseason games, making big plays. Washington caught all 3 of his targets for 38 yards and secured a touchdown during the Saturday night's game against the Buccaneers. Coach Doug Peterson spoke yesterday on Washington being a bright spot in camp.
You know, it's valuable. I mean, you look at the last 5 games last year when Christian missed, and he got all the work there. I think he got a lot of confidence and gained confidence. He's stronger, this year. He looks faster, quicker, all of that. And, he's just making the most of his opportunities and doing a nice job in the return game as well. And he's been, as we've said, he's been one of the bright spots of camp.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Since we're running low on time, I will introduce a quick news subject, which is, did y'all see Kirk Cousins' birthday was yesterday? He got the aux cord at Falcons practice.
Looks like my playlist.
Yes, it quite literally looked like Taylor Dolls. I will read you a sampling. For those of you who are children of the early 2000s, like myself and Taylor, Lauren, I'm going to put you in that category as well. This is elite. The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. Move Along, the All-American Rejects, Stacy's Mom, All the Small Things, The Anthem, Mr. Brightside, Best of You by Foo Fighters. It's just incredible. Go look at it. The Falcons posted it. That's the only nice thing I'll say about the Falcons this week.
It's just a preseason game.
I know, but yeah, it's okay.
Kirk is 36, so a little bit older than y'all, a little bit younger than me, but yeah, it's
a couple years older than me, so it makes sense.
Playlist.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Is right.
So I'll say from this show today, when we were going back to some of the teams that may possibly decline, and how interesting this is every year. And there's always the surprise team that plays really well. The Texans probably in that group from last year. But then there's always the ones that you think are going to be better, and whether a massive injury happens and that's why, or they just have the kind of fall off that, the Eagles ended up having last season. But it will be fascinating to watch some of the teams that have the new quarterbacks or quarterback controversies right now and how they fare, because ideally when you get that next quarterback, especially if you draft someone high, you're hoping that's going to take you pretty quickly to a few more wins or a couple more wins. So it will be interesting to see, for example, like a Patriots who just looked like a disaster last season, but you're hearing pretty good things for Drake May, how soon he's in there. Bo Nix has really shined this offseason, how he fares if he gets a shot, and how soon when it comes to Denver. So it'll be really fun to watch some of these teams play out, and at the end, which ones we're looking at like, oh, I would have never guessed that team was going to fall off the way they did.
I have a fun college football note. These two people are on the same hot seat list that I saw earlier today. One person is 11-14 over the last 2 seasons. The other person is 56-8 over the last, I think, 6 seasons. One is Billy Napier. One is Ryan Day. If Billy Napier doesn't make it and Ryan Day becomes available because Ohio State loses to Michigan,
You're going to fire Billy just so you can hire Ryan Day.
sorry,
That
Billy.
way.
come on. That's just insane to me. But yeah, all right. So let's continue our Jaguars rookie grades. So far, I am the only one with an A on BTJ. Y'all both have B, some version of B's. And then we all had B, some version of a B for Mason Smith. Let's get it to Jarian Jones. I've got a B+ for the rookie cornerback. I think he's been really good so far.
Yeah, I have a B, and it would have probably been a B+, A-, quite honestly, if it was the onset of training camp and during the off-season program. I think that quite simply once the pads come on and perhaps things, they kick up a notch, let's call it, over the last 2 weeks or so of training camp. Not that Jarian's gotten lost in the shuffle, but I think also trying him out at different positions on the field, which the Jaguars certainly did, Lauren, on Saturday night, in which he played almost the entire game against the Bucs. I think that not that by giving him too much, they're giving him too much of a workload and he can't handle it, but because he's trying to do and see mismatch here and there. That's where I feel like maybe the production that we were seeing, that I don't know if it was sustainable, where he was getting a pick nearly every practice to begin training camp and during the offseason program. I don't think that was sustainable.
Yeah, I have a B-. I don't think that we've seen anything flashy, which that's okay if you're doing your job. But there were those flashy moments in camp, so I think you were expecting a little bit more of that. He's allowed, I read, almost 63% completion percentage, so you want that to get lower. But he hasn't allowed a ton of, he hasn't gotten burned deep. His tackling has been really good, which obviously where it was some issues last year in certain, especially down the stretch when it just felt like people couldn't tackle. And then also when I want to say the yards allowed per catch is only like 6 yards per catch. So there's positives. There's a lot of good things. But to me, I do just think that higher completion percentage, you want to see get a little bit better. And then you do want to see some takeaways the way that you were seeing them in camp. But I still think that he is going to be someone that we will be talking about more and more week-to-week basis. You're just figuring it out. Where exactly does he fit in on this defense with Ryan Nielsen?
I think he's going to play a huge part for this season. I think we'll be talking about Darnell Savage and Jarian Jones as two players that in crunch time came up big. Yeah. And so how they play this secondary, we've talked about all the different guys in different positions, but I do think they'll rotate. And just like they're going to rotate the defensive line, I wouldn't be surprised if they rotate some secondary members as well. Yeah. And so, Jarian is a guy that came in with the big attitude, and I think he's incredibly excited to be here. And Ryan Nielsen is a guy that's going to get the most out of him, too, which is exciting. Javon Foster, I'll go C for him. I didn't think he had the best game Saturday night.
I'm going to give him a C+, actually, because maybe my expectations were a little bit lower. And the fact that they gave him such a heavy workload says to me that they believe, hey, you know what? He could very well be our swing tackle of the future. So we need to give him these opportunities on both the left and the right side. So I'll throw the plus in there just because that's a lot to throw on a rookie, even if he's a 23-year-old rookie.
You mean Walker Little won't be here forever?
No, he'll be the starting left tackle. Actually, I'm just kidding. That's
certainly a possibility.
Yes.
That's in the mix. Walker Little's certainly in the mix for that moving
There's
forward.
potential for that.
Yeah, I have a C. I'll say C for Javon Foster. I don't think there's been anything that I've massively loved, but there hasn't been any crazy critique. Like you said, Lauren, he didn't play great this last weekend, but I do think we've seen other moments where he has matched up really well against in certain areas. So I do think that is another person. It's just going to take a little bit of time for someone like Javon Foster, but so I'd say right about average as so far. I'm
going to give an incomplete to Jordan Jefferson. I'm also going to skip and go incomplete for Keelan Robinson, and then I'll go back to DeAndre Prince. I'm going to give him a B+, same grade I gave Jarian. I think DeAndre Prince can be a starting outside corner in this league. He's got the size, he's got the speed, and I've really liked from what I've seen from Trey.
Yes, I'll go in the B category, just akin to Jarian, same grade I gave Jarian, which is there's been moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy should be pushing Ronald Darby. And then there's other moments where I say, okay, he's a rookie and that's okay. But the fact that we have seen both those guys flash, in particular Trey Prince, the fact that we've seen him flash more than some of the veteran, if you even want to call them camp bodies or even rotational guys, perhaps, that were already here or were signed this offseason, that's very, very positive for the Jaguars in the long term. If you say, all right, after this season, you say, if Jarian is going to be, which again, I don't even know if he's going to be your nickel if you believe in Christian Braswell, but if those two guys are going to split it, but you need another guy on the outside opposite Tyson, we believe Trey Prince a couple years down the line could be that guy.
Yeah, I think to me, I almost just want to say a TBD for this one also, in my opinion. I think there's been moments, some pass breakups, especially in critical moments on a fourth down. He had one that I remember flashing for me, but I just don't know if I've seen enough to fully grade it yet. I think that the secondary in general has looked really good, which helps some of these young players not feel like they have to do so much, which is beneficial. But just for grading purposes, I'll probably say a C for this one too.
All right. All three of us have an A for kicker Cam Little.
Yes.
No surprise there. He has been, I think, outstanding is what I would grade him as.
Which, by the way, I heard he went 4 for 4 today, too. So let's get used to hearing that one.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm giving him the minus because I know he's upset about the 62-yarder that he missed against the Chiefs. So.
Also, he might get a minus because Ross Matisic did not make the bracelet for Cam Little. A fan made the bracelet for him, and somewhere that somehow got lost. Got lost in translation, and so ding him just a little bit for that. No, and then last but not least, Miles Cole. I'll say a C for Miles Cole. I haven't necessarily seen anything horrific, but I also haven't seen a guy that may make this team either to this point.
Oh, I'm going with a B for Miles Cole. I think because especially watching in practice, there were questions. Again, this is even more of a project than Mason Smith, a guy who didn't come in with a ton of pass rush moves out of Texas Tech. But measurables wise, I mean, I said this the first week of camp, ladies. I was walking behind him and I thought it was Trayvon in front of me from 50 yards away. And then he turned around and I went, wait, that's not Trayvon. That's Miles Cole. There have been struggles in one-on-ones. But when he got on the field last week against the Chiefs, Lauren, just something changed. Something changed, and all of a sudden he's flashing. And I'm like, whoa, like that, I didn't expect that. And now you look at this past weekend, he was among the first players on the field on special teams as well. And that, of course, is a big indicator of, okay, they're probably interested in seeing what this guy can do on special teams. So I think he's surpassed in the last 2 weeks the expectations where, 3 weeks ago, I'm like, they may cut him. Like he's maybe a practice squad. He still may be on the practice squad, but I feel a lot more confident in the trajectory of Miles Cole. So I'll say B-, but I definitely got to put him in the B category.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of C's, which is fine because
Tough
I feel
grader
like
over there.
I just a lot of it more so is I just haven't seen enough. But there's good moments. I think that the consistency is key when it comes to a lot of these guys. And for me, someone like we heard Doug talking about Miles Cole and how he's been impressed with, how quick his get off is. And he's been having to work on his hand placement a little bit. And some of those things you kind of see catch up to him during the games. But I haven't seen, like you said, Lauren, I haven't seen anything where I'm like, he's hurting this, he's hurting the defense at all. But I also haven't seen anything where I felt like he was maybe other than a little bit of a couple pressures here and there, hasn't been anything that's changing the defense either.
This isn't a rookie, but because he didn't play last season, grade on Cooper Hodges.
B-.
Okay.
Yeah, B-, B. The minus is only because I think, he had a little bit of a tough time on Saturday and he did miss some time with the back injury, but that probably should be a feather in his cap because the fact that he missed a week and he didn't miss a beat. So we'll say B for the pride of Baker County.
Yeah, I would give him a B.
Yeah, same.
He's looked good at times.
Yeah, I was going to say probably a B- for me.
I mean, I think Cooper Hodges is a guy that he's a little bit behind in his development because of the injury, but yet everyone can still see the raw talent that exists. Yeah. And so you want to pour more into him because this is a guy that he can be a road grader.
Yeah.
And much like we talked about with Cam as far as that attitude, and Ezra maybe with that attitude as well, I think Cooper Hodges would bring that to the offensive line. And so I'm not saying he's going to start necessarily, but I think he's had a good camp. And the offensive line as a whole, I think, will benefit with him being behind Sheriff. And yes, I think he's pushed Sheriff a little bit through training camp. And look, the offensive line may not have had great days against the Bucs in the joint practices, but for the most part, I thought they did play a little bit better Saturday night versus Wednesday, Thursday. Well, especially Wednesday when the pads went on and it was O-line versus D-line.
Yeah, and I think that there's a reason that when yesterday I was talking about the offensive line, I said I'm more confident in the tackles because guys like Cooper Hodges have shown me enough that make me feel like if something happened to an Anton or a Cam, I am more confident in the backups for the tackles stepping in and being able to play at a higher level.
It is fascinating to think Cooper Hodges played tackle in college, and
they're like almost all right.
Now he's out here. Primarily his trajectory is at guard, but he's getting reps at center. So I'm not saying he could. If the floor for him is becoming Blake Hance, I think that's a valuable asset to the Jaguars from a 7th round pick.
Let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
Matt Hayes, which Jaguars rookie has impressed you the most so far?
Wow. Great question, actually. I don't really know. I don't really know that any of them have really impressed, right?
Cam Little? BTJ?
I mean, BTJ looks good in practice. But, I mean, like, if you're talking about impressed where I'm like, whoa, that dude's got it. I don't know that any of them, I don't know, not that it's going to happen, that it's not going to happen. I just don't know that any of them have really jumped off the page where you're like, all right, yeah, that's a dude. And I'm including Brian Thomas Jr. I honestly am. I want to see more out of him. I want to see a guy that can stress defenses.
Well, maybe
and
Friday
I want
night
to see a
you'll
guy
see
that can consistently catch the ball.
Yeah. And that's what I said, Matt. I was like, they said I was a harder grader, and I still gave him I think I said a B or B+. But to me, same thing. If you were taking just from preseason games, you'd be like, okay, you have 2 catches. Like, what are you showing me there? Because we have seen practice, it does maybe shift a little bit for us because we've seen moments in practice where you're like, okay, there he is. He's burning guys there. But you want to see that in games.
Yeah, I think that the deep dig that he did that ended up in an out was like an option route that he ran on the outside where he caught that pass. It's a really nice route, a really nice running off of the corner in bump coverage. That was a great play. I want to see more of that. I mean, Jordan Jefferson finally made a play in that game. When you think of Mason Smith, you think, wow, he looks good. I just don't know that you do, right?
I mean, I think you can see the potential with Mason Smith and why he was drafted where he was because of, his size and his quickness for being as big as he is. Like, I am excited to see him. I think he'll be a part of the rotation when we get into actual games.
I think he will too, but I'm not there yet.
Okay.
With you.
You're also always cautiously pessimistic.
100%. And why wouldn't you be? I mean, you at this point, you're in a situation where in this league at this level where everybody is elite and everybody can play, you can't just assume that, all right, well, this guy will be good. And you saw that last year, both with Tank Bigsby and Brenton Strange. 2 high-value picks that, in theory, should have played immediately, should have made an impact, yet did not. So, yeah, I'm waiting for that. And on the other hand, you have Anton Harrison, who clearly made an impact, who clearly is the best lineman on this team right now. And, we were talking about this yesterday on Primetime. If you watch him now when he's out there, he's got an aura about him. He's going to be a dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's hard in preseason. Like, there's a lot of things that you do try and take out of preseason, but I was talking about Mason Smith, and I'm like, they had 3 rookies on their offensive line, and he was playing the 3rd and 4th string defense. So offensive line. So it is hard to kind of see and judge. Like, yeah, it's great. I'm glad he can compete against a 4th string offensive line. Now we need to see a little bit more out of that.
Yeah, I agree. And Jordan Jefferson, same way, made the play, but it was against a guy who's probably not going to be on the squad.
What's coming up, Matt?
We're doing unit rankings of the Jags. We're going to talk some college football. And more football. It's football. It's August, and right.
I have to give a shout out to the Heeligans. Matt Hayes sits down, and they just come out of the woodwork on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line. We literally just got like 15 comments since Matt Hayes sat down 3 minutes ago.
Because I said none of the rookies are impressing me.
What are they saying?
Honestly,
someone said that you're still butthurt because they didn't draft 11 guards.
I am. There's no doubt about that. Or at least one. How about that? How about just
one guard
one?
would be a good start.
How about just one who the Cowboys now are raving about Cooper Beebe. Raving about.
He's looked so good.
And they're going to try to play him at center,
right,
which is good because I don't know if they have anybody at all on the interior.
All right, we're stepping on Primetime's toes, so thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks,
we'll be
ladies.
listening. That's going to do it for us. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow on 1010XL 92.5 FM.